Hi everyone, my name is Justin and this is Matt.
Howdy.
Welcome to Game On. We are a channel all about tabletop gaming. That's RPGs, board games, war games. So if that's something that you are interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell because we have a new video every Friday. Today we're going to be talking about convention games. So if you're interested in stuff like this, like RPGs, or anything really having to do with the convention, hit that like button so that we know and make more content that you want to see. What are we talking about today?
Well, this is kind of a counterpart to another video we did regarding 5 secrets to success for GMs at cons. Now we're going to talk about the 5 secrets to success for players.
There are more players at a convention than there are game masters, so.
But are there more secrets? Probably. Honestly, we're going to limit it to 5, but there's probably 50. So. Anyway, without further ado, let's count them down.
Awesome. Number 5.
Choose a con-appropriate character. I mean, one of the first things you do when you're contemplating or arriving at a con gaming table is character, right?
Yep.
So make sure that what you're doing, what you're working with at the table is appropriate to a convention. It's not the same thing as doing a game at home, a campaign, so forth. Things you want to avoid, niche character types, really hyper-specialized one-trick pony type characters or bizarre concepts that just aren't going to have utility across a broad spectrum. And the other, in my opinion anyway, is avoid characters with complex mechanics, particularly, crucially, if you're new to the rules system. You do not want to be learning a hard character type at a con because you're just going to put the brakes on the whole works if you do that. So, go with something you're familiar with, you have good mastery of, and that you can make maximum utility out of at the gaming table.
Hey everyone, I rolled a Netrunner, but I have no idea how to play it because I haven't read the rules.
And even if you have read the rules, you're still not going to have any idea how to play it. So, just go with what you know at a con. It's okay to try a new character class, but if you're going to do a new character class, make sure you're well-versed in it. Mm-hmm. So you know how to make it work at the con. Because if you're learning the game, you're slow in the game.
Yeah.
So
let's go to number 4.
Number 4.
Because speaking of slowing the game.
Yes. Time constraints.
Yes.
So it's inherent to any convention format. Look, you're going to have, and they're one-shots, right? And within a certain limited amount of time so your players can get to their next game or whatever they're doing. So, if you're a player, you need to be aware that keeping the plot moving is, while it's the GM's responsibility, you play a part in making sure that that's successful. So that you look for the cues, the story hooks that advance you through the story efficiently, right? So you don't want to be a speed bump. You want to help make sure everybody's pulling in the same direction to get through the story successfully, have a good time, and so just work with the GM to make that work.
That means show up on time, have your stuff ready to go. If you want to get some food or some drink, get it beforehand.
Yeah, I would argue that's number 3 even, right?
Okay.
I would say that, coming prepared is your number 1 responsibility. And I would put that as its own separate category, honestly.
Okay, so you want to call that number 3
Let's
then.
call it 3. Yeah. But go exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no, you want to come ready to play and stay focused. And for those of you who might not have been to a convention, and those of you who have, you can totally attest to this in the comments, there's a lot going on in that convention hall. There are going to be people screaming with joy at 15 tables down.
Crazy distractions.
People are going to be playing music. There's going to be a megaphone, somebody on megaphone calling for cohort 3 to come to these tables.
Yeah.
You got to stay focused because the game's not going to get done if you're
Yeah, look, there's always going to be something to compete for your attention, but even more so than in a normal game, in a con, you've got to keep your eye on the ball.
Yes, I get that life-size Settlers of Catan looks fun, but you signed up for this game to play now.
And that person at the next table over who apparently had a 5 martini lunch, that train wreck is kind of interesting to look at too. But you know what? If you're watching them, you're not getting your own business done. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to get through the game and you want to get it done in the allotted time, like we were talking about with time constraints. So, keep focused so you can do that.
Yeah. Let's go on to number 2.
Number 2, this is sort of an etiquette thing.
Yeah.
Look, you run cons at GM, so
it's a bit of a two-parter. Though
Yeah.
Listen, I know a lot of us have run games before. It's especially the game that you're running or you're in. Don't backseat DM.
Stay in your lane, bro.
We understand, but there's a lot of pressure going on for that game master for that convention. Yeah, you might have done something differently, but don't give them a hard time about it.
Yeah, look, that's not the venue to question somebody because again, you're just going to kind of interrupt the flow.
Yeah,
you gotta give the GM a broader latitude because they're working with additional demands that aren't normally the case in a game.
Yeah, especially because there's a whole group of people who you might not have ever met. These are all new people that you might have just met 10 minutes ago when sitting down at the table.
Yeah, you as a player don't know the people you're playing with necessarily, and chances are the GM doesn't know them either. And that makes managing that scenario a little more challenging.
Yeah.
So again, they may have to use a little bit different technique and tools than would be ideal in other environments. So they the GM's job there is to make sure that everybody feels comfortable and has fun and succeeds, so don't be the thing that derails that. Don't be the problem that the GM has to solve.
And the important part of also the part 2 to this is that don't push boundaries when it comes to tone and stuff.
Yeah, at a con is not the place for that.
Especially with new people. Just quick side note, I had a table where somebody pushed the boundaries and the table melted down.
Yeah.
So, don't try to push past PG for a lot of things.
Yeah, whatever the content is.
Yeah.
If the GM is probably going to set more conservative, more careful boundaries at a con. There may be house rules with respect to what all the GMs have been instructed to do.
Yep.
And it just, even if they haven't gotten specific rules about that, they're probably common sense rules. The age of the players may vary more than in a traditional gaming environment.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously people are strangers, so they don't know other people's sort of limitations. So you don't want to get up close to the limit on people. You want to make sure everybody feels in a comfortable, safe environment. So
it's very important. It's almost as important as number 1, but I think number 1 is quite important.
Yeah, well, number 1 is the only reason number 1 is number 1 is because it's probably the most common thing that you'll see players kind of do that maybe they shouldn't. And that is share the spotlight. You gotta share the spotlight. It's not all about you.
Yeah, you don't want to step on other people's toes. There are people here who come from a variety of walks of life. Some of them might be a little bit more quieter than you. And, if they're coming to talk, don't be like, I'll do the thing.
Yeah. Well, look, you're going to have a fair selection of potentially newbies playing in a con, or at least new to the system, if not new to gaming as a whole. And the last thing that you want to do is be the guy that turns the new person off to gaming, right? Mm-hmm. They're meeting you for the first time. You don't want to be somebody's horror story of who they met at the con.
Yeah.
So, just let everybody have some space to have a good time. Let them have their moment in the sun. Let them do some things, even if they're not doing things the way that you would if you were playing their character. That's okay. It's a con. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you how somebody else plays their character as long as they're not infringing on your fun. So, yeah. And I would argue this is something I believe that helping somebody else have a good time can actually be more rewarding than just being in it for yourself. And it's
Oh, yeah.
definitely more rewarding than showing somebody up
Oh, yeah.
or stepping on them on the way to getting to the finish line first, that kind of thing. You know, if you bring somebody else to sort of the next level of gaming where they're having a better time than they thought they would, or you show them why they want to really get into this hobby and continue it, that feels, to me, that feels better than just kind of winning, you know? So,
just it's for the greater good of the hobby.
yeah, no, absolutely. It helps us all in the long run to have a healthier base of players across, you know, the whole spectrum. But just in that example, like, there have been times where the most fun that I've had at a gaming table is actually in a supporting role. Like, sure, I may know how to leverage an advantage for myself, but if you can help somebody else learn like a new facet of their character that makes them have more fun, that feels, it's hard to beat that feeling, honestly. So
yeah, especially if they're leaving with a big smile on their face and they're happy that they played.
Yeah, they're telling the story about the cool guy that they met at the gaming table who showed them a new trick about the system or really got them interested in something else. You know, you're not the reason that somebody gets turned off to gaming. You're the reason that somebody gets even more involved in gaming. That's what you want to be.
And that's really one of the things that conventions is about.
Yeah, no, look,
So-
sharing the love, right? Like, a convention is there to expand people's experience and sort of communally enjoy this hobby that we all love so much. So, yeah, like, help other people get to that place.
Make sure to leave in the comments what you think are also other important points that we missed. I know that there's more than this. We just kind of narrowed it down to 5.
Yeah, share your experiences at cons, things that went well, things that, you know, hard-won lessons that you've mastered in terms of what you think people should do to come prepared and have a good time at cons. We don't have all the answers, so to give us your wisdom in the comments.
Yes. So, again, this is Game On. I'm Justin. This is
I'm Matt.
Thank you guys for watching. And as always, Game on.